You are now listening to the Electric Dreamz Podcast.
Oh, I know that you'll be fine.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Electric Dreamz Podcast. My next guest is fucking phenomenal. Great person. I knew him 3-4 years. Tori introduced me to him at a festival. And it's this guy, every year I see him just grow. And I just hit him up. I was like, hey, man, let's get you on the podcast. And he's like, yeah, I just don't have much to talk about. I was like, and then he was like, maybe I can talk about this and this. I was like, dude, that's perfect. That's why I love these podcasts, because it's like, it's pretty much just having a conversation, regular conversation, and it just felt like that. It just felt like just recapping with a friend. And this guy's phenomenal, especially coming from some addictions that he's been having to what he is right now. I'm just so proud of him, and I'm just so grateful that he came in to talk about it and just share his thoughts and what he's progressing himself. So check it out. This is CHRIS TIANO. What's up, buddy? What's going on, dude? Fuck, man. How's everything been?
Oh, it's been good, man. Just trying to, stay busy during all this craziness.
Yeah, dude. It's wild right now. But like, you know what I mean? I'm just glad to see you more active than before. I know before you were in a pretty dark area, weren't you?
Yeah. And I was kind of going MIA, just trying to get back to my mental best.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's you have to do that sometimes. You have to take a break in certain amounts, just to kind of get you back to your normal self. What brought you, what started making you come back to what you were normally doing, when it comes to music and even just being socialite?
Yeah, I think what happened was I got caught up in, I guess, a loop. Mm-hmm. And I was constantly doing the same things every day, not really branching myself out to be where I was before. I would either get caught up with helping other people, or I'd get caught up with, helping different situations that had nothing to do with my music or stuff like that. So I basically ran out of energy by the time I would actually want to work on stuff.
Mm-hmm. So you were trying to basically solve a million things rather than even just taking care of yourself. Yeah,
I was trying to do so many things at once that I didn't focus on one thing at a time. And that's what ultimately led me to start drinking more, which definitely took a downturn for both my physical and mental health, because, when I would drink, it would be almost those other things would kind of float away, and I was able to one thing after the other. And in the end, it worked for the reason that I thought it would work for, but it ended up taking away from everything else, just because I felt more unmotivated. I felt like I wasn't getting anything done, which then played into my mental health, because if you feel like you're doing nothing, then you're definitely doing nothing.
Yeah, and it gets stuck in your head, especially at this moment right now, since everything's pretty much closed. You're by yourself in your own thoughts, and there's that bottle of fucking Jack, and you're like, man, that could take me away. I feel you on that, and I'm just happy that you got yourself out of it. You know what I mean? It's an everyday fight, right?
Oh, 100%. I wake up and it's stuff after so I've been a month and a half sober. Thank you, finally. Yeah. And it's ever since then I've been feeling more clear. I wake up earlier. I feel more motivated to do the things that I need to do. Granted, yes, I'll still sit around, watch Netflix and stuff like that, but it's more scheduled than I was before, because sometimes I'd be working on music late at night, drinking and stuff like that, and then I'd wake up 10 a.m. the next day, and then boom, half my day's gone.
Oh shit.
And it just got into that cycle where even time wasn't even making sense, where it was making sense, but it was just overlapping. So the date I would think it's the 7th, but it's actually the 8th, or I think it's the 8th and it's actually the 7th.
Holy fuck. So it was fucking up just your memory, even your thoughts and stuff. Was there any so now going back to just kind of evaluating everything, would you say alcohol kind of almost fueled you making music?
Yeah, in ways, yeah, because it slowed my brain down to because whenever I'm sober, my mind's always racing. I mean, it was like that when I was a kid, and that's you try to do so many things at once. Even while I'm working on a certain sample, I would think about what the next sample is going to be, and then I'd lose track of that sample. But, you know, if you drink, you know, you slow down, you look at it, you kind of like, okay, you take things slower.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But everyone's mind is different, but that's how it worked for me.
Holy shit. So you were almost using alcohol as to stabilize your mindset because you were just thinking way ahead, which, I mean, honestly, I think would be insane just to see you in the production, just to see you going from one sample to next. I mean, honestly, I don't think you should hinder that. I think you should encourage that. Maybe your thought of maybe I have some issues like with that when it comes to finishing tracks. I'll go way ahead than what I'm dealing right now when it comes to mixing. Is there cases like that affects you when it comes to production?
Yeah, there's some aspects, like especially like when I'm working on a track and then I'll skip and go to the end. I'll do the end and I'll do it backwards. And that kind of slows down my process too, because you already know what you created and it's done, it's finished. And then you can basically put the fundamentals and foundation and focus just on that. So you finish what you were thinking about when you started the fundamentals, and then you just kind of go backwards to it.
Okay.
It's kind of confusing, you know, the way I said it, but it's basically just a different process.
Is it because?
Sorry.
Oh no! I was gonna say, is it because you're just kind of fed up with the current sound you're working on, or?
Yeah, because most of the time, honestly, when I'm working on a certain sound, I'll actually what do you call it? Like, you know, you'll get stuck in a loop and you're constantly messing with that sound, but it actually sounded great before you started messing with it as much. You know, so you want to keep making the sound perfect when in the end it actually muddies it up.
Because you're almost overthinking in a way because you're just like messing. What I don't know. When did you started producing? I think the first time I met you, you were still like you were into it a couple years, you know, in it. So when was that? Like when you were 18 or a lot younger?
I'd say pretty young. Like, I mean, when I first started getting into it really was about 18, 19. So I moved up to Phoenix for baseball. And then when I moved, I started meeting a lot of friends like that were DJing our parties for baseball and stuff like that. And I was like, whoa, this is really cool. Cause I've always been into computers and stuff. But when I moved back down to Tucson in 2013, that's when I got a laptop. I started downloading all these like programs and stuff. And I just started messing with things. And you know, YouTube tutorials was my biggest teacher.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, on even how to get the programs onto my computer, you know, it was all YouTube. You know, getting samples, like getting just instruction, the basic fundamentals down was all YouTube. Like, granted, I could have gone the school route, but I felt the way I was doing it was kind of more, how do I put this? I guess just like bottom up, you know, I wasn't, because everything is cookie cutter when you go into production school, which is great because, you know, they teach you all the good things, the fundamentals, what the terms are for everything, you know, even shortcuts on a keyboard to where you can, you know, do it. You can cut your production time in half with those. You know, me, I'm still dragging my mouse around, clicking and stuff.
Yeah, still go back to old school. School is, there's a benefit with school. School, I feel like that's when you meet, you know, other collabs, other, you know, run-ups and stuff, other like big artists that they're going to come out of there. I feel like that's the benefit, but honestly, you went in the right direction when it comes to that, like collab with other people. I always preach collab with other people. That's the way you grow so much, especially out in your realm. Like, for instance, let's say you just make bass house music and you like collab with, let's say, a soul artist and stuff. And I think that will grow you more in that. Is there like a type of artist you kind of want to, like, before 2020 ends, you want to collab with?
Oh, freaking Abstract, for sure.
Oh, shit, yeah. That'd be that'd be sick.
Abstract, there's also these two kids that, well, this is after 2020, but there's these two kids from, I'm pretty sure they're from Chicago, named Birthday Party. And they just came out with the gnarliest sound design, music, like, type, and it's just all, like, encapsulating. Like, anytime I see their set online, or even, I haven't seen them live yet, but online, they're just crazy. They have energy out the ass, for real.
Yeah, they're in the bass house realm, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And what got you started in the bass house realm?
I think it was because my first love ever was dubstep, with like the old dubstep, Flux Pavilion, Bass Nectar's old stuff. And then, what do you call it? I got I Can't Stop by Flux Pavilion tattooed on my arm. So that's where it all started.
Holy shit. Yeah.
and I started to really love house music once I really dove into DJing and stuff. House music just always had that constant, and it could always change no matter what, but still have the same BPM. And bass house is almost a blend of both, because bass house has those dubstep sounds. They have the house beat, but they have like those hard claps and that energy that you just can't get away from. So I think that's where it started. And like also even with bass house, you can do a halftime drop, which obviously is just taking away one of those drums in between and then replacing it with a clap. And then boom, you have a dubstep side of the song.
So it's in a way you can go back and forth. Like if, for instance, you still have the love of house music, but you come from the origin of dubstep. You have both worlds in there, and it's a very popular fucking. Look how many like great fucking producer DJs are out there. Abstract, like we said, fucking Jaws. Like so many. Just like now thinking about, that's kind of cool. What's like now you just hearing like the Flux Pavilion, what was like your idol when it came to making music?
Oh man, that's hard. I'd probably want to say like Don Diablo, because Don Diablo, because he makes like, he has such melodic music that with great vocals, great chords, the progression of his music is just fantastic. What he makes is technically called future house, but there's a lot of drops that he's made that are definitely bass house oriented.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with these subgenres nowadays, is just all of them are blending into so many different types that they're basically like sister genres. They're the same type, but different feel.
Do you sometimes hate when someone listens to a song and it automatically gets placed in a certain genre, or like someone tells you some type, like your music? Do you want your music only to be bass house, or do you want it to be some of a blend of other things? Because I know some artists they kind of get frustrated, like, I wasn't really trying to make that certain track, but fuck it, I'll go with it since everybody's with it.
Yeah, that's funny that you say that, because I don't get mad at people like, pushing it into genres or whatever. But when it comes to like me making music, I mean, I use samples from Kashmir. I use samples from, Tisoki. So I have dubstep samples, house samples, big room samples. Like all of these are just different aspects that because dubstep has really loud, heavy claps.
Yeah.
Even to hip hop, the same thing. Like, because I accidentally made a hip hop track, and I was like, okay, I didn't expect it to go this direction, but it's just going in different folders and being like, oh, this clap sounds good. All right, I'm gonna throw it in there. Oh, this kick sounds good. I'm gonna throw it in there. Or this bass sounds good. It all just depends with my music, because I don't like to put myself in a certain lane, because I see everyone's like saying, you got to have your own unique sound, and you got to run with it. Like, that's got to be your sound. If you look at Jaws, he's got his wah, 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 wah,
yeah,
wah
that wobble.
sound. Yeah. And then you look at Skrillex, and, he's got his sounds, Steve Aoki, and even, Tiesto with his big room. Everyone has their own lane and stuff. But what I've found from the most successful producers, just by observation, even the Martin Garrix has made songs for the radio, and he's made big room tracks that people have been drooling over since he was 17 years old.
Yeah, isn't that fucking crazy? Imagine being 17 and you're on the main stage of fucking Ultra in Miami, and just like fucking people just know every lyric of your song. That's nuts, man. Imagine being that young.
Oh yeah, dude, he's the Justin Bieber of EDM. Start at 9 years old, and by the time you're 12, dude, you already have a record label contract and you're touring the world.
It has his own label, studio, like. Isn't that would, I feel like that would kind of be scary, like be successful at that young, and then you have to have that consistency. And I feel like, I don't know, man, I don't know, maybe I'm just out of it, but I just feel like big room is just like going down. I haven't heard any good big room music. Maybe I'm just not looking forward to it, but I don't know, I just kind of get tired of it.
No, I totally understand. I think that went away probably about 2015 to 2017, I think is when that really, everyone was like, okay, I've been hearing this since 2010 or, stuff like that.
It's the same drop, same, countdown, 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah.
But,
And I've actually noticed, tech house has been around since the 90s.
mm-hmm.
Tech house has been a thing. You just have your simple drum loops and you have a bass behind it. And now I've noticed that they've been using those huge horns that you have in Big Room, where it goes like, bam, that'll be the first part of the drop, and then it goes into that tech house, and now people are using that and going insane.
Yeah, that's a fucking going to tech house right now. It's insane. That industry is killing it. Chris Lake, Fisher, just fucking his wackiness. It's like it's so many people. Don Diablo, Dom Dilla or Dom Dalla or whatever.
Dalla.
Yeah, that fool, man. It's just like right now. I feel like people are loving simplicity. Like that kind of style. It could be complex, but I just feel like simplicity sometimes is like the best, because it's like it's easy on the ear and easy to dance to compared to other things.
And then it's funny when playing baseball all the way through college, like that was the one thing I learned from my coaches, and I was able to carry it into music. Was the one thing they always told me was keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
So you can and that's the thing even about pop music. It's all simple. It just
Super
has great it's bass, a kick, a clap, and then you have your vocals. The vocals are the focal point because that's what people catches their ear. But if it has a good beat, it has to be simple.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right, dude. Vocals is the main source of everything. Honestly, you can do it with dance. You can complain. People say the kick, but I feel like depending on the kick, it's the vocals, man. I feel like the vocals is like number one and shit like that. Going to the baseball. What are you excited for baseball to come back?
I'm excited and scared because you never know how many. Because if you look, the Arizona Diamondbacks, they had I think 4 or 5 players that said they're not gonna play because they already have gotten tested positive, and then there's a pitcher on there that said he wasn't gonna play just because he knows it's still going around. Oh, no shit.
So there's already I think half the team right there fucking not going to go. That's insane. Yeah, I know. I've been watching the MLB and stuff, just kind of keeping updated. And, man, it's scary. It's scary to see everything is kind of slowly coming back. Like here in LA, they had to reshut the bars down because it was just spiking. Things were fucking spiking. And
Same
then Arizona. Yeah, because you're in Tucson right now, right?
Yeah.
And how's that over there?
Well, in Tucson is not as bad because I guess there was they did the Pima County, the county that I'm in right now for Tucson, did a full sweep of 126 bars. 11 of them shut down because they had a class 6 or 7 liquor license. Okay. But they weren't following the restrictions for social distancing, for masks and stuff like that. So they basically shut them all down, and they're actually very popular bars. And then up in Phoenix, they had another 6 or 7 clubs do the same thing, both in Scottsdale and in Tempe.
Holy shit. They were just all fucking, just no 6 feet, no mask or anything like that, right?
There was one. There was filled just people elbow to elbow, literally.
Fuck you! No fucking way.
They got caught real quick too because people were posting on social media this isn't right. And then I think it was 2 days later they came in and it was nope, you're shut down. You're shut down. You're shut down.
How do you feel about that? Are you just kind of fuck it, let them be whatever they want to do, or are you just kind of come on guys, let's go, let's stay in?
Yeah, I'm it's like me with the people not wearing masks. Everyone's talking about, it's my right to not wear a mask, or I have my rights. You're taking them away just to enforce this rule. But I mean, the thing that people also don't understand is it's not about getting it; it's about not spreading it, because you can, the masks actually do stop the liquids and stuff like that do transfer it. And people think it's oh no, it's in the air, it doesn't matter. It's no, it's do your research and stuff like that. But there's a lot of people in Arizona too that have it but don't show symptoms. They're asymptomatic. Okay. And I have 8 or 9 friends that are actually going through it right now. They tested fully, they've been quarantined, and they literally can't taste anything, they can't smell anything. They have a flu times 10, and also strep throat comes with it. Like my friend sent me a picture of her mouth, and it was like all white blisters and stuff. I was like, oh
What
no.
the fuck?
And it's like, and there's just so much that causes from it, not wearing masks is, you're just going to get in fights at the stores. A business is going to shun you away and not give you service because you're not wearing one. And then boom, you're going to start a viral thing that's like going around. And there's so many of those now.
Yeah, there's like, it's always like, a Karen or a Kevin that's just like, they're like, they're always fat too. And they just, they're obese. They just want chicken wings. I'm like, for me, I do, especially, I do want people to wear masks and stuff, but like, what I mean? People want to party, fuck it, let them party and see what happens. Cause like, dude, I just recovered from being sick, but I tested negative, which was so fucking weird. I was like, I was reading up, dude. I was so fucking paranoid. So I was reading it up. I was like, God damn, I'm having these fevers, these fucking migraines, dude, just like really bad ones.
Yeah.
And I go testing and I was test negative, but luckily I'm back 100%, dude. It was
That's
just
good.
like, it was tough. Like, did you get any symptoms? Any of that?
Not at all. Because honestly too, when it like started to get really heavy around, like I've been quarantining since it started because up in Phoenix, I live right next to the National Guard outpost up in Scottsdale. And what do you call it? They were literally like traveling the streets on the first lockdown where they were like, stay in your homes. There's a curfew at 8 p.m. Like, don't go out unless it's necessary, like for food or emergencies only. So I've been doing it since then. And then, what do you call it? I started going through my alcohol stuff and then going through my sobriety. I actually went through withdrawals for the first 2 weeks or so. So I started having seizures and stuff like that. Like that was, huh?
Like, no, well, you were having seizures?
Oh, dude, there was one day that I had one every 6 hours. Because
no fucking way.
Yeah. If you drink for like a long time and then, you just immediately stop, because I went cold turkey. I didn't like wean off it. I just went, nope, done. And then a couple days later, it just started rolling in with the seizures. I'd have hot flashes, cold sweats, all sorts of stuff.
And you're supposed to get weaned off, right? You're not supposed to, cold turkey.
Yeah. They say to wean off of it, which I just wanted to be I guess I just wanted to be away from it. Yeah. And I was like, they always say that the first like week is the worst, but it's different for everyone, obviously. But yeah, that was my worst week. But I mean, a month and a half later, I'm honestly glad it happened. It turned me into, someone else. It kind of like rewired my mind.
Yeah, I think it put you in that situation that, it almost like it's a, kind of like a snap to your life. It just kind of like it checked on you, and especially around this time, it's really good for that too. Like, what we're going through right now. And dude, that's just fucking wild, man. I've never had an addiction before, and I never understood it till people were telling me about it, and I was just like, holy shit, it's like almost an obsession of something that you can't get enough of. It's almost like an energy, part of your life in a way.
Well, yeah, and that's why like ultimately I had the seizures, because my body, it was just part of my body's processing, and whenever it doesn't have it, then your body goes haywire technically.
Do they give you medicine for it, or like do they give you any medication?
No. The first time I went to the doctor, they like literally just they just IV you. They give you an IV because it flushes out your system. And
okay,
that's basically what I did. That's why I say, like, going back to putting myself in quarantine. That's why I'm in Tucson. I've been at my family's house, just literally drinking water, eating right, being around, good influences, good people, to the point, anytime I ask again, they'll know what to do. Like the first time I had a seizure, I went to the hospital, and they basically just put me on an IV until I recovered, and then they were sending me home. And then they were like, if anything happens, just over-the-counter medicines and what do you call it? Sugar water, because it's also my blood sugar being super low.
Oh shit! Are you diabetic?
No. It's just a side effect of what happens because your body's dehydrated, and basically, if your blood sugar also gets drained out whenever you go through these things. And I think I had a total of maybe 15 or 16 altogether. And the problem was, though, it messed with my memory. The best way I can explain it, is like, imagine you breaking like a ceramic pot, i.e. your brain. And those pieces, like, you can glue them back together, but, you know, a couple days later, you'll find one under the couch, or a couple days later after that, you'll find one under the fridge, and be like, oh, okay, so memories are coming back as they can. But, you know, there's some parts of my past that I don't remember. And I don't know if it's for the better or the worse, but I say everything happens for a reason. And this reason has brought me to where I am now.
Yeah, dude, you look way better than before. I mean, I feel like you're you're in a better attitude. I you know, going through just like you and I messaging back, you're way more in a positive vibe than you are. Can it be? You know what I mean? Like, let me ask you this: can it be the people that are you surrounded by that it's just kind of their influence? I'm not saying they're bad people. It's just they're influencing the wrong things at the time.
I'd say, like, honestly, my addiction wasn't, I honestly wouldn't consider it an addiction, because if I was able to quit this fast and not have cravings and stuff like that, like, because I wouldn't say like I drank and got belligerent or anything like that, you know, or overdrank and I started, you know, being pissed off, or I'd hate people. Like, it didn't turn into a negative until I stopped. Like, I would drink maybe a couple times a week, but it wasn't, in my mind, an addiction. But my whole family has problems with addiction. I obviously, you know, my mindset probably was just, you know, caught in that loop to where I didn't notice that, hey, you know, you probably should stop. And I think that's why I ultimately, you know, needed to stop, is my brain just was like, all right, you're done.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too with like recovery is, you know, from all the people I've talked to, is it's all mindset. And it's all how you train your brain, to work what's best for you. And like, even when I look at alcohol now on TV, like commercials and all sorts of stuff, I get grossed out. Like, I can just look at it and be like, oh no, like, I don't need that. And it's more of like, I think I started off wanting to prove to myself rather than, you know, everyone else, or prove to be like other people. And it wasn't like that. It was like, hey, you know, do this for you. You know, you got this. Don't be the person you have been, because where has it gotten you? To, you know, to having seizures.
Yeah.
Like
The end consequences, you dealing that with your whole life. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's the first thing you gotta do, is do it for yourself. Don't do it for other people. Fuck other people, man. If those people are, you know, trying to encourage you, knowing that you have you know, illness, because I mean, it is an illness, man. It's just, you know, some people just can't live without it. It's like, it's crazy. It's a sad thing, because it's like, even the people that they think that's their friends, you mean, they're bringing them down with them too. I'm not saying they're bad people and all, but you know, I've seen many people been addicted, you know, to, you know, substances, and it's just like, especially if they're talented artists. You know, you're a fucking talented artist. I was just going through some of your shit on SoundCloud, dude. Like Lasers was dope track. Do With It. I was fucking listening to Do With It, and that shit's dope. And I'm like, man, this guy needs to continue on and do his shit, because it's like, you know what I mean? You got talent, brother. And it's just like, yeah, I'm just happy. I'm just happy that you're in a better situation. It's kind of crazy how you had to get out of fucking city in Phoenix and just like, you know, man, let me just get out of here and go back to my parents and recoup.
Yeah, because even my my family was considering, you know, me going to rehab. They weren't like gonna pick me up and drag me there, but you know, I had 3 family members, you know, say like, hey, like, maybe rehab will help, you know, because I was depressed, I was angry, I was sad, I was all sorts of things, just because, like, going back to that fuck other people thing, is like, I wasn't worrying about myself. You know, and that's where I ultimately lost myself, is I was putting my energy in everything, you know, around me, instead of focusing inward and then outward. And so they offered to do rehab, or me to do rehab. And I was like, you know what, that's probably just going to make me even more upset, you know, more angry. You know, I'll probably relapse in there as well, because, you know, a lot of people that I've talked to that go to the inpatient rehab, they end up either coming out worse, or they they come out fine, and then a month later or a week later they end up back in.
Jesus.
And also, Yeah. But I mean, it also does work for some people. You know, I'm not a person that likes to talk to therapists. I like to talk to multiple people who have been through the same situation. That's my kind of therapy, because I can deduce my own thoughts and opinions from other people's experiences. You know, and what do you call it? Like, and it also, if I went to rehab, it would just feel like jail.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like, a sanctuary that you feel free. You feel punished. It's almost like you being ashamed. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you're fucking drunk. Here's a facility that you have to be in. And dude, going back to you sharing, I think it'd be interesting to, you tell your story on Instagram Live. I think even that, like, sharing your story with. That's why, man, I was so happy for you to come on this podcast, because I know you were going through shit, and I wanted you to have a platform in a way you can even like tell your story, your side of the shit, because it's like it's a good therapy. Just having these conversations with. I love having conversations like this, because it's like sometimes that builds that there's more to Chris than a lot of people think. You're a good-hearted person. When I met you, Tori, thank God Tori introduced us together. It was cool to see you in like Octave and stuff. And what I mean, just going back to those memories, like, what was like, I don't know, how'd you met with Octave? Was it through Jason, or or Nick?
So it was basically all three of us, because I met Jason playing baseball because he played baseball as well.
Okay.
So we both knew each other through that, and that's when I started getting into. Well, so we played together, and then he went off and traveled the country to play baseball, literally everywhere, and I moved back down to Tucson. That's where I started learning, production, DJing, and all this stuff. I actually ended up opening a hookah lounge down here, and I did all the entertainment. So I told them what to buy when it was like lasers, lights, speakers, the DJ system, all of it. And that's kind of where I started getting into the entertainment side of things. And then it was funny because I came back up to Phoenix and, started to, I guess put in my roots as a DJ and producer and stuff like that. And, we met up, we started hanging out again because he came back into town. He moved back into Phoenix, and we both went to, I think, where was it? It's called like the Bud Light party. I don't remember who was playing. It might have been, I don't even remember. We'll go on.
It was some like some show at a club, or?
Yeah. It was at, I want to say, what's that one? I'm trying to think. It was it's just a concert venue right off of the 202.
Rawhide?
But no, it was, I want to say it wasn't Monarch. Was it Monarch? I think it was Monarch.
But it was like somewhere out there.
Yeah. It was right in the middle of town, but it's funny because, we're sitting there, talking, and he was like, yo, I want to, like, because we used to run party buses a long time ago.
Yeah.
And for like clubs and stuff. And he wanted to, start doing that again, but this time to like festivals and other things like that, because, Uber would cost, $70 to $80, there and back or whatever. And we started doing that. And then that's where we started doing the pre-parties. And then that's when we started like actually throwing stuff. And then he was like, yo, I want to create a company. And then we all just kind of went in. Like Nick, I've known also since we did baseball and whatnot. And, we all just kind of went in together and started this thing, and it just slowly, progressively just went up and up and up and up. And then we ended up starting throwing our own events. And then we did, Bay City Block Party, and that
which was so fucking sick, man. That was nuts,
dude.
How was that?
Oh, it was nuts, man. Like the whole setup, like we didn't expect it because, dealing with the city, dealing with all the stuff, like the back end of throwing events. A lot of people don't see that. And holy crap, let me tell you, that is a shit show in a good way, but it's still a shit show.
Because there's so many protocols you have to deal with, right? You got to deal with like, the time of hour and shit, right? And like like licensing alcohol and all that shit, right?
Yeah. Cause we technically had to cordon off a whole courtyard in the middle of Tempe. right next to a bar, which was also shared by another bar. So we had to, put up a big fence, like right in front of their bar. Like you could still get in there, but their patio had no view except for our show. And we had to hire security. And at one point I was ending up like telling security where to go and stuff like that. And I was like, what? Am I like actually a boss in something here? This is weird.
Yeah.
And all in all, like the artists had a great time. Everyone else had a good time. There wasn't anyone roughhousing, like doing crazy shit, no fights. There wasn't anything that, we actually just sat there, and it was funny because they had 2 cops on duty just to make sure, if we needed help or anything like that. And they had to overlook everything and make sure there wasn't, bottles being thrown, who knows, everything, etc. But we were even asking them, and they're like, this is actually one of the better run events that we've seen. And I'm like, all right.
It was fucking
cool.
amazing, man. When I went out there, I was like, holy shit, just super impressed. Like, I was like, man, it's so genius. Have a stage right next to a fucking bar in the middle of Tempe, in the middle of fucking downtown. And I was just like, dude, this is so sick. The venue is sick. You know what I mean? If you look at it far end without everything, you'd be like, who the fuck would have a festival or a concert right here? It doesn't make sense. But now when you put everything in place, it matched it perfectly. I was super impressed by you guys. I was like, man, like, unfortunately, what things ended up with Octave, it was unfortunate. Like, what was your reaction when that first happened? When the whole auction, when Octave had to be shut down?
Honestly, it was kind of bittersweet in a way, because we all had stuff going on also on the back end of our lives and whatnot. I wasn't able to produce and stuff as much when I was with them because we were either, we were going to meetings all the time, doing all these things, all the back end work. And then, also, it's hard to do that stuff financially whenever you have so many competitors and stuff. And, honestly, we were able to do our pool party, every single year. We were able to do those events, and we were able to partner up with some amazing people. Like, I met so many amazing people through Octave, especially producers. Like, I wouldn't change it for the world. And what we did for the time that we had it was, oh, dude, I don't regret anything. I'm not sad. It was the funnest run ever. It's a part of my life that I'm never going to forget.
Yeah, no, man, that was cool. You mean just you going over through it, like you starting out with the hookah and then now becoming like, good friends with Jason. Jason's, part of Relentless Beats, Ekanova, and all those guys. It's like, it's so cool to see the growth of it. You know what I mean? I feel like that's what everybody that was the comment expressed. Cause I was, I've been talking to everybody that used to work with Octave, and that's like the main, everybody's just like bittersweet. It sucks that it had to be end, but they feel like they've, connected or had an experience that was unforgettable, that they probably would have not had that experience if they were in LA or something like that. But since it was, in Phoenix, it was just like, it was benefit. And it's just seeing you guys grow too, like seeing other Chris over there, representing Wash and stuff, and just kind of like seeing everybody's like having the little projects, and it's cool. Is there something that you want to progress after this? Like, do you want to eventually teach production, or what's the end goal of this?
Honestly, I do as much like teaching as I can because I'm still learning as much. Like I still feel like an amateur compared to, all these other people that I've been blessed to work with and stuff like that. So it's like, I don't feel like I'm at a point of teaching yet. I probably will in the future, but as of now, obviously I'm going to keep making my music, keep producing. I want to travel the world and play stages, that I've always dreamed of playing, like Ibiza, ones in Paris. I have a friend in Indonesia who wants me to come out and DJ and produce and stuff. And I just got to get a plane ticket and for all this COVID stuff to stop. But it's funny because even through all of this, like I've actually been really big on the entertainment side for Newlander, David Newlander.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be working with him for his Global Unity tours and stuff like that as well, and then start doing more multimedia stuff on that end. Mm-hmm. But obviously, my main focus is going to be my brand CHRIS TIANO and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's smart, man. That you're kind of reaching out to different platforms, different realms of the industry. You really don't want to just focus on one right now. I feel like the more you can get, dab in, the better your results are better. People know you more. You know what I mean? That would be cool even if you do a tour, like the Indonesia tour, mini Indonesia tour. You and like two other guys. You just fucking tour, do a mini tour and stuff and vlog it and all that stuff. So that's fucking sick, man. Is there anything besides music you like doing? Like, is there like a hobby that you've probably picked up or something like that during these times?
It's so funny that you say that because
Wait, you going pot in the back or what?
No, but I've actually started to take so I've been taking a lot of pictures with my phone, like of different landscapes, sunsets, stuff like that, different areas when I travel, when I go places. And it's funny because every time I show someone my pictures, they're like, oh my gosh, like I want that photo or I need this photo or something like that. And what I'm going to actually start doing is taking these high-def photos and I'm going to make prints, basically just big prints. And then I'm going to make custom frames out of, I'm going to do mosaics from basically like broken tile. So you like break tile and you piece it together like a puzzle on the frames. I'm going to do mirrored ones. And then, so like imagine like a broken mirror, like in a bunch of spikes, like around a picture or even around a mirror, like mirror on a mirror.
That'd be sick, man.
Yeah, it's cool, right? And that's something I think I can really get into. And then I'm gonna do custom wood frames that are like broken as well. Like I'm not gonna just do that regular frame stuff because people want art. And if you have these cool pictures of like sunsets or like wherever you're from, or like stuff like that, it like not only does the picture represent you, you have a one-of-a-kind piece on your wall, and like all of it's gonna be custom made, handmade as well. So I'm stoked to start doing that.
I think that would be so sick, man. Like, what brought you to that? Have you always like, been, artistic in that realm, like when you were a kid and stuff, or was it just, something that you just picked up?
Yeah, I'd say I've always been artistic, but I haven't really, put my ideas into reality, I guess, because either finances or no workspace, stuff like that. I actually made my own COVID mask. You want to see that?
Yeah. Show it. I'm so down.
Okay,
This is so sick.
So yeah, I bought this mask and then I put a filter on it.
Okay.
And I can interchange the filter and then I painted it. So the mask was just from Amazon, but I basically just messed with it. Hold on.
Oh, so you didn't build the mask. You just kind of like painted over and all that, right?
I painted over and then basically attached the filter inside because it didn't have a cover.
Okay.
Where the mouth is, but hold on. Take off this thing. All right. Damn it.
Let's see this shit. That's so cool though. I've always wanted to do that. I was like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's rad. Honestly, I was just thinking about the hospital mask, but now you just blow my fucking mind. I'm like, holy shit, that's so sick. Oh man.
Yeah, so that they didn't have that black at all. It was just like I could obviously cough through it.
Okay.
It didn't even have nose holes, so I had to carve nose holes in it myself.
Dude, that looks like almost like the V for Vendetta mask, but cut in half. That's so sick, dude. You should do way more. Maybe that could be a side hustle right there. You buy a shitload of them, and then you just kind of like you put up a shop on Instagram or something. You're like, hey, half the proceeds go to something or something like that. I feel like that could be a really cool fucking project on the me time, man. Because I feel like that's sick. Let me know. Let me know if you start selling one. I might have to buy a custom one.
Yeah, I could make you one. That was the first prototype because hold on, if you, I kind of ghetto rigged it.
Okay.
But like you're gonna laugh. I used the Amazon package that came in because it had bubble wrap on it. I used that to make padding.
Oh
so
shit.
There's the padding, and then there's the mask is glued in there. And then these are the filters I could take out.
Oh, okay. So you just kind of throw them in there and all that, right?
Yeah, because you're supposed to change out the filters or whatever. But what do you call it? Yeah, so it can interchange filters, and it feels great on your face. I can wear it forever, and it doesn't mess with my ears because the thing actually comes with head straps instead of like the ear straps.
Ah, okay.
So it goes like up here around your head and then right here, so it doesn't strain your ears at all.
That's sick, man. Fucking, you know what? You should fucking start making those, dude. Honestly,
Yeah.
because even if after this COVID shit, you know, you live in fucking Arizona. When you go to a festival, it's always dusty. And you fucking breathe in that damn sand. So if you start selling that, let's say you have a pop-up shop on, like, let's say Relentless Beats is hosting, you know, fucking rave of the year, whatever. And you have a little pop-up tent and you have all these fucking masks, let's say, like, and you know, you collab with like, let's say you collab with Don Diablo to make a mask for him and say you go, hey motherfucker, we go 50-50, you know, I split the profits with you and shit. But like you make masks like that. And I don't think I see that profitable, because you know when you go to like a rave, you see everybody just doing the scarf shit. But if you have something like that, I feel like the bass heads would go crazy. They'd be like, "Man, I need like 10 of these." Especially you could do LED and stuff, like LED in the mouth. And so
that's what I was thinking. That's the next one I want to do is an LED one. Because that one I just got to figure out how to like attach everything, because right now it's just super glue, and super glue is real messy. So I want to get like an adhesive to where it's like more, you know, fine line, but it still works like super glue. But, also like what do you call it? This only took me, maybe it took, I'd say 2 hours to paint, and then it took literally maybe 30 minutes to stick everything in there.
Okay.
Because all I had to do is cut the mask out, and then, you know, super glue it on, and then boom, put on the pads, and then, you know, the filter, obviously.
It's all set. Yeah, dude. I would fucking go ham, especially if you have free time. I know, like, it sucks because, like, sometimes you just want to do production. But, like, with that, man, like, if you're trying to, like, you're hurting for money, I feel like that would be sick, man. I'd be willing to fucking promote that shit, because that shit's so dope, man. I fucking,
I said, I'll go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'll make you one. You'll be my first customer.
Yeah, make me a custom one, dude. I'll fucking, and then like, because I see right now people could take advantage of these moments since everybody's home and stuff. You know, I feel like, you know, because like when music, it's people are hurting with money for sure, but if it's good quality item like that, I feel like people will be, you know, especially in your niche audience. You have a very niche audience, you know, it's the EDM world, but like with mass and stuff, people that, you know, love, you know, doing that kind of stuff and wearing that stuff, especially right now, they can wear it, you know, they don't have to wear it at a festival. They can wear it like to the grocery store or some shit, or, you know what I mean? So I feel like
straight up.
you should definitely, I would double down on that and fucking just see what, you know, people's reaction, even like show it to people and see what they vibe off of it, and then kind of like go with it and stuff, you know, you never know. Honestly, you never know until you fucking try.
Yeah, I actually did because I was in when I first started my my sober run, my sobriety. My dad took me and my brother out to Prescott just to like get away, go into the lake and canoe and like go into the mountains and such. But that's where I finished the painting, because the painting, it took forever. First, I used oil paint. And then I noticed oil paint doesn't dry on plastic. And then I ended up having to go to Target and buy like acrylic paint. And then I used that. But it's funny because I wore it all around Prescott. And this is, Prescott. And this is literally nothing but, you know, there's a lot of younger people too, but there's a mostly older generation. And they were doing a jazz festival in the park. And because I wore it as my COVID mask. I was like, I'm not wearing this stupid piece of paper.
Yeah, you're fuck this.
No, I was like, this ain't happening. And then I put that on and literally sat in the back of the truck because there wasn't enough room in the truck itself. I had at least 5 or 6 people on the road like look at me and be like, yeah, that's cool. And then going around the jazz festival and in the shops and stuff, like people were like, oh my gosh, that is an awesome mask. Did you make that? And I was like, yep.
See, you're getting a fucking organic reaction to it. Either it's bad or good. People are still reacting to it, and that's, dude. There you go. That should be your fucking your sales point right there. Just like you get so many reaction to it. Me looking at it, I was just like, I thought it was gonna be one of these, these little cloth stuff. And then you come out with a fucking, Freddy mask. I was like, holy shit, this is like crazy. So, you know what I mean? Honestly, I think it'd be sick, man. Especially like, you could custom make stuff like certain artists. I noticed like there's this girl on TikTok. She does paintings and stuff, but she does like paintings for like DJs and stuff. And I think it'd be sick if you actually, let's say your favorite, Don Diablo, you make a special mask for him. Guarantee he's gonna fucking make a reaction if you put it on TikTok. I guarantee.
Use his logo.
Or just make something like let's say his recent song, whatever. You put the lyrics all over his mask, like a white mask, and just like it's all written and stuff, and be like Don Diablo on the side right there, but all the lyrics are surrounding it or something like that.
Oh, that would be legit.
Yeah, dude. I was just thinking of that. So that would be fucking sick. And you do that, and you like put it on TikTok. You show how you made it, and then like let's say, be like at the end, you're like, "Hey, Don, I would love to give you." This mask for free and stuff. And then I guarantee all these fucking fans from Don Diablo, like, I want that shit. Give me, you know what I mean? It's just like, it would totally, you know what I mean? I would fucking, let me know. I would invest to it. Let me know what you need. I'll invest into it because I think it's a great fucking idea right now. Instead of these cloths are easy to make. There's so many fucking people. But when it comes to masks like that and how much dedication you put, I feel like you can even do a limited order. You could be like 10. You could sell it for like 30 or 50, $50, however how much you want, and then that's your side hustle. And I guarantee you're gonna have a bunch of DJs, even your homies too. They're like, hey, can you custom make one? And you're like, yeah, for sure, $50, boom. And then you got 50. For how long it took you? Like 2 hours?
Yeah, about that. Like split up in different time, but yeah. And honestly, now I think about it too, is like each one is handmade. So it's not going to be like cookie cutter. Like you're going to have an original that no one else has in the world.
Yeah. And how rare it would be. You can even do it more. You can be like, fucking motherfuckers, you're paying like $2,000. $2,000 per mask.
$150 COVID mask.
Yeah. Custom made. You want an ASU emblem? I got you. You know what I mean? I think it'd just be such a great idea right now. You know what I mean? Especially if you're not feeling about making music. I had that feeling too, man. When I was sick and stuff, I was like, I had no energy. Even afterwards, I was like, I really didn't have any influences till like I started doing a side project. I was doing like, I made this table with my girl. This kind of like rolling table that we needed some storage. And man, after that, something creative like that, all these juices flow. I was, starting making music and stuff. So maybe in a way, this can help you creatively be more creative when it comes to like your music, get back into the music and feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I already feel that even with the ideas that I have for like all these custom frame stuff that I want to do. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Oh no, I was like, even what you said, going back to your picture frames, you can have a theme. You can have like a CHRIS TIANO. You can be a great artist when it comes to this shit, man.
Yeah, go to art expos and be like, oh wait, aren't you a DJ too?
Yeah, dude. You'd be so surprised how many fucking DJs are so fucking, so artistic. I think fucking, who, Miha. Miha, has beautiful paintings. She's like, she's another example of being like a full artist. So I feel like you are a full artist. You don't stop with music. You can go with mask and paintings and stuff.
Yeah, and thanks for that idea too, because like I obviously with making my own COVID mask, like I never even thought about being able to take it to a rave and not get all that dust in my mouth.
For sure. Yeah, dude. You fucking Arizona, there's fucking wind tunnels and shit. And all that shit's going straight to your mouth. And I was like, man, this would be a perfect time to have a fucking mask. And you know what? You go to CHRIS TIANO's booth that has all these fucking masks. You know what? You can, when you fucking hit it to the point that you hire somebody to fucking stand there, like to sell all your shit and you're out on the decks, you know what I mean? Like, wouldn't that be cool? Like, for instance, let's say you'd be the first DJ to like make it on stage, but also have some side hustle at the stage. Like for me, like I'm surprised these DJs are not having their own water, or energy drinks or stuff, or like even their own candy. Like, I know Electric Family does this, but like, you know what I mean? I would be like, fuck, I'm going to do it my own. Like, I want to do it, as my own booth and stuff, or like, you know what I mean? So I think it'd just be really cool for you to do that. Like even like when shit kicks back rolling and you're DJing at clubs, fucking dude, there's no shame, man. I have no fucking shame of people kind of coming back and doing like a little booth and be like, hey, I have my t-shirts and stuff, because you gotta sling it, bro. I feel like people are gonna be hustling, and so might as well be the first hustler when you're out there.
Exactly. And that's funny. Yeah. I was actually I'm going to Hobby Lobby tomorrow to get a bunch of beads and stuff for bracelets.
Uh-huh.
So I was gonna start making my own candy too.
Dude, why not? Fucking open, dude. I feel like you're gonna open a fucking store, online store. It's gonna be like CT store. You know what I mean? But like, you have your
Yeah.
music, you have your, you know what I mean? That's what, especially when it's handmade. I feel like people will appreciate it way fucking more when it's not manufactured by a third party. To like, it's personally you. And you know what? You can even put your autograph in one bead, so it's like CT, so it's authentic or some shit. Because I feel like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just throwing out these ideas now.
No, dude,
Now
trust me, I got a good mental notebook in my head. So this is hey, you're gonna be a partner now.
Yeah, no, dude, I'm totally down to invest. And now I'm thinking about it, I'm just like, man, I'm gonna have to hit you up, and I'll send you a PayPal. You know what I mean? Because I think I just don't want to see this going to waste. Because like, just seeing that was like a good first impression. I was like, holy fuck. That is sick. That is like nowhere like what I was thinking of a mask. Because you hear a mask, it's like a surgical mask. But that is like a serious mask that you can like, it's fun, it's creative and stuff. So you gotta.
And you could probably do surgery in it because it has a surgical mask in it.
There you go. You can fucking freak out your client, your patient, and then also be, fucking, medical friendly. Imagine you see your doctor and you're gonna go for like dental work, and you just see a fucking massive the Freddy Cougar. You're like, holy shit. Fucking
right, open wide.
Yeah. You're like, holy shit. Man, brother. So like, what other things have been going on in your mind when it comes to with this whole COVID? Is there like, have you been more in your thoughts when this shit was going on?
I think I was actually more in my thoughts when it wasn't going on.
Oh yeah.
because now I find a reason to keep myself busy.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that distracts me from, all the stuff. Like obviously I still go on Facebook and I'm like, oh, okay, there's a post about COVID. Oh, there's a post about someone's birthday. All right, COVID. Oh, another birthday. Oh, someone's not happy about this. I feel like it's all just gotten to a point where, a lot of people are staying at home when they weren't used to it. There's a lot of people getting more depressed than they aren't people that normally get depressed because now they're stir crazy,
Mm-hmm.
Staying at home, not much to do. And then, so what do? They, have to flood to the social media, and they have to flood to all these other outlets that, keep their mind going and keep them busy. But ultimately, I think that's why we have the everyone's wrong and everyone's right thing. So we have two sides of, like, I've seen people that have been friends for years literally saying they hate each other and they stop being friends because of certain either political issues, political opinions, COVID opinions, all sorts of different things.
It's brought out a lot of light to this darkness, honestly. People are fucking depressed, man. What can you do when people are depressed and bored at the same time that they have nothing, especially our world, the Indian world. You know how many motherfuckers are getting called out for sexual assault or,
Dude, it's so sad, man. And like, honestly too, I've had a lot of like, cause I'm friends with a lot of DJs on Facebook, because if you get friends with enough of them, you're like, oh, we have mutual friends. Oh, he's a DJ. Okay. Let me add him. There's a whole community, like a sub community that people don't know about, but like we all have each other's backs, but we know who the bad ones are and stuff like that. But I have friends who have literally been called out by fabricated allegations. Literally, I had one friend who had posted on one of their dubstep pages that this person drives drunk with his kids in the car and stuff like that. And he was like, I don't even drink and I don't have kids. He's like, you can look everywhere. I don't have any kids.
What? And someone just like randomly is like, hey, this fucking guy drives drunk.
Yeah, it's just people, like past enemies and stuff like that. Like, granted, there's obviously a lot of accusations that are probably true and stuff like that. Like, and they should be dealt with accordingly with the authorities and those two parties. But I have another friend in Colorado who he's a very prominent DJ around just that area and stuff like that. But there was apparently a situation, these three girls go to his house after the time they DJ'd, and one of the girls that was there they all had a good time, whatever. Next day, everything was okay. No one went to the police. No one said anything. No one posted about anything. This is 2016. So 4 years later, it comes up and she spreads an allegation again on one of these pages for artists, and literally asked one of her friends, which he knew all three of them, and he knew one of the friends, and this one girl, the accuser, basically told that friend to agree with her story that she, got her friend was at his house and basically was on top of her. She got blacked out and took advantage of her, etc. And this girl that she was trying to get on her side literally messaged the dude that the girl was accusing, and was like, yo, she's about to start some shit. Like, she told me that I should be on her side and back her up about this fabricated story of when we all hung out. And she's like, I'm not okay with it, so I'm just letting you know. So he knew before she even started accusing.
Oh, so she hit him up. It was like, hey, watch out! This girl's gonna put allegations on you, saying that you raped her or some shit like that. See, that's fucked up, man. That's not right, dude. Like, I get it when there's like stories like I knew one. I don't know if you know this guy, Graves. I knew Graves, Christian.
Graves.
Yeah, dude, fucking that hit me different, man. I was like, holy shit, because I would hit. We weren't like close friends, but we were gonna work on something, and I'll hit him up. I'm like, hey, happy birthday, happy New Year's. I would just hit him up in like holidays as his birthday and just like see how he's doing and shit like that. But when that shit came out, I was like, holy fuck. But you never know till the final facts are there. That's what's shitty about this. It's like almost like you are canceled right in the beginning. For me, I'm like, but like let's wait. Let's see what where the hard evidence. And some of these stories, bro, they're fucking sad, man. These girls are, it's fucked up, and that's crazy, man. Like what artist that was been accused that you just like it took you. Like, it sideswiped you when you found out?
I'd probably say like Datsik, because that was one that, like, he was one of my favorite artists for a very long time. I remember seeing his show in 2012 at La La Land, downtown Phoenix, and literally was one of the best shows I've ever seen. Whenever dubstep was just like, it was getting me, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I heard about him doing all these things, which they ended up, being true, I was like, shit, like, I'm just now like, I don't like, I'm not going to delete his music, but I'm like, fuck, I really liked you, dude. And then
it's upsetting because you think about it, how many hours or how much time, how much, even you probably invest in his t-shirts and stuff, maybe his music, but how much investment you've done to that person. And it sucks because like all that goes away as soon as that shit happens, because it's like you kind of be like, man, only if you for that shit. But I don't know about you. For me, I'm like, fuck, that's it. I'm sorry. You could be the greatest fucking artist, but if you start doing that shit, that's game over, man. I don't even think, can a person like that come back? That's the question.
I think it's impossible. And that's why most of these people have just been like, yo, like, I'm done. And there's some people that haven't even gotten accused, but they're like, I'm done before something gets made up against me, or, something comes up. And that's also an admission of guilt in some way, because, they have some stuff that's back there.
Who the fuck is going to say that, and they're not guilty? Hey, I didn't steal any money, but, hey, I'm just going to, put back this 20. You know what I mean? Like, who the fuck says that? There's this guy that I roasted on my last podcast. I fucking was so pissed. This guy, I think it was Space Jesus. So Space Jesus got called out, and he did an AMA about it. And when he was doing his AMA, he fucking didn't reply to any question. He was just so fucking bare about it. I was just like, you fucking prick. If you're gonna do an AMA and expect that our fans are gonna ask you questions about this shit, and you don't respond, he's like, I don't see that. I don't understand that question. And he keeps moving on. He was like he was a fucking fucking Donald Trump getting interrogated. He just like he would ramble over, and it for me, I was just like, you fucking cunt. Why just you mean if you're not guilty, just prove it that you're not guilty. But he couldn't. It was just like he would just space off and do something else, and I was just so pissed because it's like, you know what I mean? Why the fuck you can do that if you knowing that you're guilty as fuck?
Yeah, dude, you know, it's funny that you bring that up too. Is last week I think I saw it with my I had to show my grandma because she was just like she hates Biden as well, like me. And we were watching his he had a interview on The View, you know, the huge talk show thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, he went on there and he's talking about all these things like perfectly fine. You know, he had an answer for everything. And then one of the ladies next to him is like, so we wanted to talk to you about these new allegations or sexual allegations that have been pinned against you in the recent weeks. And then he immediately started going like, well, I've been giving this a lot of thought lately. And, well, you know, how do I put this? I said, so, you know, recently, like literally.
He was like stuttering.
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck's wrong with this guy?
He couldn't make a full sentence. And then they
Fucking poor
pan
Biden.
over. Oh, dude, it's so bad. They like pan over to one of the girls that's at the desk. And she's like,
it was probably fucking McCain. What's her name? McCain's daughter. She's probably like, what the fuck is this jerk off? Man, I feel bad.
Yeah.
It's like almost like, you know, it's like Biden reminds me of a grandpa that he lost his mind. He doesn't know anybody. You know, he nearly forgets your name during Christmas, and you just invite him over, and you just kind of like, you know, hey grandpa, how you doing? And he just looks at you like ghosted eyes, doesn't know where he's at. And you know what I mean? Fuck, man, I feel bad because that's like the only candidate that, you know, I want to vote for. I wouldn't want to vote for Trump. Sure as hell don't want to vote for Kanye. Fucking Kanye for 2020. I don't get that shit. But you know what I mean? It's hard. It's hard right now because it's like, I don't know, man. It's crazy.
It's funny. Someone posted the other day. It was like, yo, if Kanye wins, this will be our first president whose first lady is on Pornhub.
That's so funny. Yeah, I know they were posting up like I think she was like the trending below him, and they're like the hottest first lady in America and stuff. It's like, hey, you know what I mean? That'd be. But we all know what he's trying to do. He's trying to fucking make Trump win. Or just have, you know, take all the black votes and stuff. And it's sad, man. It's sad that, you know, like what you said, with your two friends that were like arguing that, you know, there's division. But I think that's when you see the realness. I feel like this short fucking timeline, it's not that long. It's only 3-4 months that we've been dealing with this shit. That it's brought out so much light to everybody else. Like, think about it. With that time, you've dealt with so much. You dealt with, you know, addiction. You know, you've picked up stuff. You picked up your arts and stuff, your music, and you know, even yourself, impersonal self. So, I mean, I feel like if you didn't go through this shit, you wouldn't be where you're at the moment.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of glad. You know, like I said. You know, I guess everyone's mindset is different, and I feel like mine and yours and like people like us, you know, like we're like-minded individuals, you know, our brains are able to handle things better than most and are able to process things in different ways. Like, granted, you know, we have our times where we slip up and whatnot, like, and I slipped up, but if I didn't slip up, I wouldn't feel like I am now. And I wouldn't be, you know, happy because before I was just so, you know, I just felt lethargic. But now I feel like my emotions are going to the right places.
And that's good, man. And you have to. You mean even dramatic moments like you getting out of the fucking city and you had to go back home. That's not bad, man. Who gives a fuck if people would, you know, think of you that way? You know what I mean? Just be like, you know, man, I'm doing this shit for my own. Especially when it comes to music. I think that's the hardest thing. Is we're the hardest critics of our own. We listen to our music. Let's say, you know, you've dealt with it. You have long sessions that you finish a track and you felt good at the end, and then you come back the next day and you're like, oh my god, it sounds like shit. I can't believe
what did I just make?
Yeah. Why the fuck was I making this shit? But you know, sometimes it's like moments like, you know what I mean, like that's why it's so good when you have a manager. It's like sometimes you just like play them something, you're like, I don't know how I feel about this shit. Get rid of it. And they're like, no, this is good. This is really good. So, you know what I mean? I think you have a manager. You have management now, right?
Yeah, Nick Lamro.
Oh, dude, that's good, man. So it's like, you know what I mean? Having a manager, has that helped you too? To kind of get your shit straight?
Yeah, 100%. And like for what I learned also from the beginning is um, you know, it just looks so much better when you have someone else making your phone calls.
Yeah.
It means like it's more professional and stuff like that. But like Nick is just such a motivator, and he cares about me. And he's been one of my best friends for years and years. So I know he won't blow smoke up my ass, and I know he's doing things for the right reasons, and he pushes me in the ways that any manager should, because that's
And
what they're supposed to do, is manage.
yeah, and I think that's important in relationship too, man, because they're when I used to have Tori used to manage me, for quite a bit, and there was a moment that it just like it wasn't it just wasn't fit for her and stuff. So you know what I mean, but like I don't carry that as like, oh, this didn't work and stuff. But it was such a good moment together, because it's like you have to have that kind of relationship of like to continue on, and it's important to have a solid relationship, a solid, honest relationship with your management. Has there been moments that you were kind of like you wanted to go this way, but it, like, let's say with the music, you're like, man, I'm really trying to push this song out, and Nick was like, not this time. I don't think it's appropriate. Has there been moments of just like kind of frustration or?
No, I mean, there's been those moments where it's like, I'd want to release something, or I'd want to, pull back on something, but we never really got frustrated with each other. It was more of like a suggestion, and then we'd think about it from both ends, and then boom, like we'd come to an agreement. And like most of the time, honestly, anything he says makes a lot of sense. He's a very logical human being, and obviously, I don't know, when sending out to labels, I don't know much of that industry besides send it and wait for a reply.
Yeah, just be like, fuck, at least get to the first sentence of hi, my name is.
yeah, but he knows like timelines and stuff like that. And when it comes to releasing music, we did for I think like 6 months, we did the release once, or like release 2 every month or something like that. I think that was what the track I was on. But some songs would get 100 listens, some songs would get 2,000 now. So you never know which way it could go. It just depends, especially whenever I'm not a part of a label yet. And if I don't have I think once I get a full label release, that's where it'll start to pick up traction, because all of my stuff is completely independent right now.
Yeah, it's just all on your platform and stuff. I mean, I feel like labels are good, especially when it comes to like big labels, like what specific label? Is there a specific label you would love to release your stuff on?
Honestly, Dr. Fresh's or Prescription, and then that's Chami's. Boathouse for sure. I want to do one off of No Rotation. No Rotation's huge. And then, obviously, who is it? I think Effort has a label. I don't remember the name. But there's just so many labels out now, too, because everyone caught on that train that, if you're a big artist, have a label so you can be that place where everyone goes for your type of music, or that type of music, if that makes sense.
It's all about ownership, bro. That's the thing.
Oh, 100%. And that's why honestly, Steve Aoki has Big Mac, or Dim Mac. Big Mac. Dim Mac, but Big Mac. Big Mac. But that's why he did it. And now he has a multi-million-dollar company.
Yeah, one of the biggest labels too. Like, under, and I think it's important to release shit on your own too. So people can understand. It's like, all right, this is what we can get from it. As much music as you could, pump out, I think it's helpful. I know there's like this stipulation. It's like, oh, you shouldn't do too much originals, too much remixes and stuff. But it's like, who fucking really knows? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like not everybody knows what's the formula. I feel like they know the basics, the outline. Oh yeah, at least release 1 every month or 2 every month. But I don't know if people know like what's the exact right amount, because like I feel like every genre it's different. You know, EDM, it's like you could pull up a mixtape or a fucking mashup or do a remix or even do original and stuff. So you could do so much, you know, even your mixes and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, and like that's the thing too with these big labels. Like say you're Martin Garrix, and you know you're on a massive tour schedule. You're on so many different was it like press release things. You know, you do so many different things. Like you're not going to be able to work on music all the time. So you're gonna like obviously put your little feelers into a song, but you're gonna have 9 to 10 other people work on that song, but only your name's going to be on.
Yeah.
That's also another thing that people don't realize is unless you go to the actual, there's a database to where it shows who made every single song that come out on like multimedia platforms and stuff like that. And you'll look and half of them have about 5 or 6 names. Just depends on what song or someone will do it. Yeah.
12
Once you get to that
songwriters.
level, co-songwriters, they don't care about putting their name on it because they get the money. That's all that matters.
Yeah, as long as you get that check, I mean, and it clears too. So like some people don't give a fuck. Would you feel when you get to that position, would you feel ashamed of it? Like, do you have to have so many people work on your stuff, or it's just?
I don't think so, because at that point, like whenever you get up to that level, your brand becomes a team of people, whether it be producers, managers, like there could be multiple managers, there could be multiple producers in your team, but they all become like your best friends, or they already were your best friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, either they don't want the limelight or that crazy schedule that the main person has, but they're still a part of the industry. You know, it's like the same thing when you see new movies that come out, you see, they'll have that famous director, but no one ever looks at the executive producers or any of those people, but they do most of the work. You'll have the director telling people where to go and stuff. But, you know, there's a bunch of scary movies that I love. Like, I'm a big horror buff.
Mm-hmm.
Horror is my shit. But, what do you call it? There's a lot of random movies that all have the same quality and the same type of, you know, I guess not storyline, but the way it's made is very well put together, scary as can be. You know, the CGI is amazing, all this stuff. But you go look through the credits and you scroll through those. Each name is different for every single movie. You know.
Yeah, it's gonna be like
the same thing with that.
It's crazy how much. Yeah, what you're saying, like how much. You know, how many people it takes to bring out a really good quality work. You know what I mean? And it's true. You mean sometimes it's really hard to do all this by yourself. Like, for instance, mixing, mastering, editing vocals, comping vocals, and all that stuff. I think you appreciate it more when you do it all your own. But when you have a team with you, like even like a manager, like you say, it just the simplest thing was just answering emails or sending out emails is just like it's a relief. You're just kind of like, thank God I don't have to deal with that shit anymore and stuff. That's crazy.
And they're happy that all they have to do is answer emails all day.
Yeah, and they don't have to, you know, worry about you. It's just the thing is like the most important thing is yourself. Just making sure you pump out all these songs, making sure you create content and stuff. Is there I always like to ask this question to everybody. Is there anything you would like to do when you retire? What's like the one thing you would do when you retire?
Oof. Oh, that's tough, man.
I know there's so many
honestly,
options.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of want to get back into gaming and like even competitive gaming, because I was into that for a while, and you know I've won a couple tournaments and stuff. But
what happened to that? It was just kind of like something that you just dropped off.
Honestly, it was because I couldn't afford a faster computer. You know,
they're so fucking expensive, man.
Oh, yeah. And I tried building my own for a while, but that ended up being 10 times more expensive. I mean, yeah, it had what I needed to play and stuff, but it just got so much. And then, what do you call it? I'm seeing friends now that, you know, on Twitch that are making, you know, crap tons of money just from being in tournaments online, or, you know, just even doing Twitch videos of them playing, being like, oh, you know, their funniness. And I know I'm comedic in some ways. So I know that I could prosper in that, and it would be fun. It'd be something I like to do. And I know there's an industry for it because it's not going anywhere.
Especially that's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and they're fucking throwing money left and right to these guys. And honestly, that would be so sick too. That's another thing you can also do and show your fans that you connect or even play with against your fans and stuff like that. I think that'd be so sick for you to do that. Just have like a Twitch party, because I feel like people are not doing mixes anymore. You know, since the whole Instagram thing and Twitch, the whole copywriting thing. I mean, it just sucks. No one's doing any mixes live anymore.
Yeah, that's true. And like, even like we said, even acting, like I kind of want to go back into that too, because you know, obviously going to be working with David. He wants to get me into background acting. It's like, I know I can do it. It would just be like, I wouldn't want to watch myself, but I know I could do it.
Yeah. That's good, man. I mean, I'm happy to hear that you're just trying to get yourself back together and just kind of like getting back to your old self. Cause I feel like you've, when I've hung out with you, you've been a very caring person, you know what I mean? And I'm just happy to see that you're recouping back and you're killing it right now, dude. You're fucking, you're gonna do a mass right now. We're gonna fucking gain up on this shit. I think that's gonna be a killing. Your music, dude, we need more of that. And you know what I mean? Like I feel like there's more to meet with you than we have right now, because there's so much potential, and I'm just happy that you're getting yourself back together. I know it's gonna take one step at a time, one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, but I feel like you'll get there, man. So I'm happy that you had a chance to come on this podcast, dude. Is there anything you want to plug, or anything you have any upcoming dates or stuff? Are you doing any shows?
Not right now. I have possible live streams coming up, but the dates haven't been set in stone yet, since I haven't, figured out when I'm coming back up to Phoenix. But those I'll definitely be, posting about on my socials and stuff soon.
Okay.
Currently, I'm working on a remix for Bijou's
that
remix
contest.
Competition.
Yeah, that's sick.
So yeah, we'll know some more about that by beginning August. But also, I'm starting my EP this month. And so that should be rolling out by probably December or into the new year.
Okay, cool.
So,
what are we expecting for the EP? Is it is going to be back to the old realms of yourself, like all your influences?
Yeah. And I'm going to do like for my breaks and, everything in between, the hard drops, I'm going to try and go more melodic. Either I'm going to do kind of a switch of both. I'm going to do like melodic stuff and also like really cinematic, like hard stuff. Like if you can imagine like a space movie where, it has that boo and it creates more of like a festival epic feeling.
Oh yeah.
If that makes sense. Yeah. Cause I've gotten a bunch of cinematic sounds. I've gotten a bunch of hip hop sounds too, that I'm going to start rolling with. So it's basically going to be a blend of a lot of different things. And I just want to make it as, I guess, versatile as possible.
Okay. Yeah, dude, fucking let me know. Send me some mixes and stuff. I'll be I would definitely let you know how that sounds and stuff. You know what I mean? Me too, man. Send me some music that you want to work on together. I know we've been talking for I think the past decade of how we want to collab and stuff. So let's definitely work on some stuff, man. I'll be super happy. So, all right, guys. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate everything that you've done, man. More to come, guys. So we'll talk to you guys soon. So yeah, guys, that was the interview. Fucking phenomenal. I'm telling you, I learned so much about it, and just going through all his mishaps and what he has right now. I just love that he's just growing, and that he's not stopping. He's just like, yeah, what's beautiful about this interview, it's like we've all kind of had those moments of just downfall and just feel like, you're just fucking up constantly. But for him, he just pulled it out, fucking had to, get out of Phoenix to back home now. So it's amazing. I'm so proud of him. He's a good person. So follow him on SoundCloud, Instagram. I'll put everything down in the description, and make sure you just hit him up and just check out his music. His music's phenomenal. I can't wait for those masks. Those masks are gonna be so fucking sick. So I'm excited, guys, for him. So for me, you know how it is. Just follow me on SoundCloud, Spotify. Right now, I just have that remix of Levin. So go check it out on Audio Mac. And that's pretty much it, guys. So I'm pretty pumped for the next future. I'm gonna get more music out there, more tutorial videos, more just more shit. So I'm excited, guys. And I'll see you guys in the next one.
Ain't you crazy?